Hello everybody and welcome back to the Prince of Persia 2008 walkthrough. In the last part we finished the game, but that's not quite everything we have to do, because there is bonus content for Prince of Persia 2008 in the form of the epilogue, which is a DLC extra chapter to the game. And basically this picks up straight from the end of the main game, and is going to end in a manner in which the sense of to be continued is even stronger than it was at the end of the actual main game.
Told you I'd get us out of that. 5 minutes to get our breath would have killed you? I think we're going to need to keep moving. Elika? Okay, so you're angry. Do you really think this is the right time? What was I supposed to do? Leave you there dead? He wanted you dead. With you dead, he would have escaped with no one to stop him. Now we stand a chance. Elika! We need to stick together! Elika! Had to pick a princess.
And so, the repercussions of what the prince did have come back to bite him in the ass. And it's very, very, very evident that Elika didn't want to be revived. Now, the thing with the epilogue is that it is very, very easy to say that it basically turns a lot of the main game on its head, because everything that we have worked towards with the relationship of the Prince and Elika and kind of stopping Ahriman, it's kind of all been undone. And once again, I think that this whole DLC epilogue works a lot better on an intellectual level than it maybe does on a purely satisfying level. But what can you do?
Then why are you here and not him?
His power is in all. That is why you set him free.
I didn't set him free. Elika, I didn't set him free. Are you all right?
So, basically what we just got rather dramatically introduced to there was a brand new move that the prince has during the epilogue, the sprint. Basically, when you are completely uninjured, if you tap A numerous times, you will go into the sprint, and then if you get the quick time event at the end of that, which can be pretty much any button, then you can stun your opponent and get some awesome extra hits on them, which is very, very, very helpful. Now, the other thing I should mention is that the epilogue is much more difficult than the main game, both in terms of the platforming that it's going to ask you to do, the combat, and also the puzzles. So if you were wanting a bit of challenge, it's here in the epilogue, more so than in the main game. which I think it works, but obviously it may have been nice to have had a little bit more challenge towards the end of the game, rather than having to wait for the DLC that you have to buy to get the extra bit of challenge. Also, you're going to be fighting a lot throughout this DLC.
We have to find a way out. If we get
Like, there is a lot of combat going on, considering how short this thing is.
Great. Good. Me too. Glad you could join me. Do you know where we're going?
So things are sort of back to the way they were, except Elika absolutely hates the prince's guts. Far more than she ever did before. Now, I'm quite grateful that they brought back the tentacle corruption monsters for this DLC, because they got so little use in the actual main game that it's quite nice to have them here to actually, you know, do something. Now, rather irritatingly, there are, I think it's like about 7 soldiers of Ahriman in this DLC, and there is an achievement for speed killing all of them, that is, killing them before they spawn. And that is that's just really ridiculously difficult to do. It's probably one of the hardest achievements you are going to get in the entirety of the game. Because it just decides to try and screw you over, basically, because there's like at least 2 which kind of spawn at really weird times. Or kind of, you've got to be absolutely pixel perfect in your platforming to even stand a chance at getting to it before time runs out. It's ridiculous. Now, one of the things about the epilogue that saddens me is that it adds to the story that we were having in a manner that is fitting and interesting, and I totally appreciate the game for that. What I don't appreciate it doing is providing what is essentially going to be a cliffhanger that is never going to be answered. It's like, I can stomach a cliffhanger like the one of the main game, because it bookended, it worked, and it allowed for kind of... I don't know quite how to explain it. It was ambiguous. And it worked. What they do here kind of undoes some of the ambiguity, but yeah, you'll see more what I mean when we actually get to the end of it. Because, I mean, it's not that long. I mean, it's certainly longer than some DLCs that have been released, because it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours long, which is relatively decent considering that the main game is kind of just under 12 hours. So you've got about a 1/6 of the main game's length in this DLC alone, which is quite nice. But then there are DLCs out there which provide a lot more content, but then there are also those that provide a lot less. Having said that, I once paid 30 quid Might have been a bit more, might have been like 35 quid for what was essentially
This place has an exit.
a 2-hour experience in the form of Child of Eden. So, what I think is 10 quid or $10 or something to that effect for this DLC. That's about right, really.
The mark of Ormaz. The Ura were here.
You risked everything to save these lands. Don't you think you should finally see them?
Now, this fresco that you can see up here that's glowing is essentially our collectible for this DLC. Throughout the entire thing, there are 10 of these frescoes, and you need to get them all if you want an achievement. They don't do anything other than count towards the achievement. But
He would have got free.
if you're a completionist like me, then it's worth it.
Give me a hand here. Has the ring come down? So,
Indeed it
how
has.
do you think the escape is going so far?
Now, even though I said that the puzzles in here are harder, there's a lot of just crank-turning puzzles which aren't that difficult in the grand scheme of things. I mean,
I can't
they're
wait to get to that door.
kind of very easy to figure out where to push them. Because it's very typically make it so that you have a flat wall to run along that has a ring on it. Or, if not, whatever you need is just on the other side of the wall. It makes sense. Now, there are a variety of other kind of achievements associated with this DLC. I think it's about 250 game points. I'm not sure what that equates to in PlayStation terminology.
I didn't set him
But
free.
I think it's about 250 that you get in total for this. And that involves things like not being, well, being saved less than 20 times in the course of the DLC. As I said before, speed killing all of the soldiers of Ahriman before they spawn. There's also one for completing it in under 2 hours, which is really, really, really easy. Like, I'm going to do it with half an hour to spare, at least.
Let's move this.
So, you should be absolutely fine. I can't remember quite any of the others right now. I believe there's a number to do with combat, as in, I think one of them is defeat an enemy only using deflect and counter attack,
Give me a hand here.
which is certainly a challenge if you want it, but it totally depends if you want to do that. I'll also say that I really like that there is pretty much music constantly playing throughout the DLC. It's really quite cool, because you are essentially on the run from Ahriman the entire time, so having the music there kind of keeps the tension going, and that really works.
He would have got free. You must see that.
The only thing one of the only things I will say is that there is only so much unique dialogue that you can get. The Prince is pretty much going to be saying the same things over and over again if you try and get him to talk. And it's generally always the, I didn't set him free, he would have gotten free if I hadn't saved you, how can you not get that, and so on and so forth. And I see a massive kind of platform. We're gonna have another boss fight, aren't we? Oh dear.
He's dead.
So, we have to face off against the warrior again.
What are you?
Except, it physically can't be the warrior because, you know, we killed the warrior.
If you
So-
are the warrior, you know us.
As with every time we've faced him, push him off the edge. I should probably also mention that your opponents can do the sprint move as well, and if you get the
You know you can fight arms.
quick time event when they do it, then you get exactly the same effect as if you'd pulled it off, which is very helpful. So, this isn't the warrior. It is, in fact,
You need to fight us.
a shapeshifter, which we are going to run into numerous times throughout this fight. Throughout this DLC. If I'm recording correctly, there is another
We should move on.
achievement for if you defeat the shapeshifter within only 2 transformations.
Using forms he's familiar with. Once he can create
Well,
weasels,
one transformation, so it's
they had no soul.
the warrior and the hunter, and you kill him on the first hunter. If you wait too long whilst he's in the hunter form,
Remember?
then he will transform back, and you have to do it all over again, which is really annoying.
Where to now? Don't go tripping up now.
Now, the second fresco that we are after is up here on the roof. The majority of the frescoes are kind of easy to spot, but then there's the odd few which are just rather fiendish in where they're located. It's slightly mean. But don't worry, I will be showing them all off. I did have the unfortunate thing of having to record the epilogue twice because I missed one
Armin's been
blooming
trapped in the
fresco,
temple for a
but
long time.
oh well.
Taking time to gather his power, but when he does, he will visit 1,000 horrors upon us.
If he's weak, we should go back. Stop him now before his power grows.
The temple has gone. He is too strong for us now.
So what do we do?
You mean you don't have a plan? It was you who brought us here.
We had to get away.
To where?
Let's get out of this place. We can see what happens next.
I know where we're running from. But where are we running to? You don't know, do you? I thought about the consequences. That's why I did what I did. That's why I had to die.
Your death gave Armin what he wanted.
So did bringing me back to life.
We need to work together.
So, yeah, DLC introduces a really interesting shift in the way that the Prince and Elika interact. Because really they've kind of swapped positions. Because Elika has become the pessimistic cynic that the Prince used to be, and the Prince has kind of taken on the rather more optimistic persona that Elika used to have. Which is
So,
rather
what do you think the
rather
escape is
weird.
going so far?
I don't quite know how I feel about it, to be honest. Also, I was about to chance that and be a daredevil, but I evidently decided against it. It's probably for the best, you know?
Let's keep going.
I am, however, going to be a daredevil right there. Like, I was cutting it really fine there. Now this is the other soldier of Armen that you've got to be very, very quick on the ball to get. From what I recall seeing, essentially what you need to do is gripfall as soon as you get to that section and just hope for the best. Otherwise, you are going to get down here far too late to be able to do anything about it. Which sucks, but oh well. It's a challenge.
Going to need some help.
It's what I was kind of moaning about the lack of in the main game, so... oh well. Now, despite kind of this kind of thing only being 2 hours long, you get a quite dramatic variety in the areas that you visit. So we've had this sort of slight ruiny thing, then we've got this kind of massive tower with all of the corruption going up and down and everywhere. And there are a variety of other locations that we are going to visit that are all very, very unique. And in terms of variety, for a DLC that spends the majority of its time in the dark, it's really cool how much you can actually see. And here's me being a daredevil again. I think at this point I was just like, that last death was just a really, really embarrassing failure on my part, so I need to hurry this up right now. Like, all you need to do is just jump and you're away, but oh well.
You got me into this, remember?
I told you to leave.
You should have said it louder.
Now, I would say that this is probably one of the most difficult rooms in the entire DLC, because it's a real heavy case of you've got to be very, very, very precise in your timing. Otherwise, things like that happen. And you die. Like, I am honestly not sure what the exact timing is that you're meant to go on to, be able to get through this thing smoothly. Because there are moments where I'm pretty sure I should have died. Like there. I have no idea quite what was going on. I guess I was just high enough to avoid it. But I'm pretty sure that should have ended in death for me. Oh well, we made it through.
I'm not the problem.
Yeah, the prince is going to be saying that quite a lot. I was constantly hoping for kind of new dialogue, but he does repeat the same thing again and again and again. He kind of becomes a bit of a broken record, really. I mean, it's understandable. He's trying to regain Elika's trust and everything, but that kind of trust is very difficult to gain back when you've just revived them against their wishes and set free the evil god that you've been spending the past day trying to blooming trap. It's kind of ridiculous when you think about it. And would you look at that, it's a power plate that
It's not lit.
isn't active. How odd.
Some sort of temple. Somewhere we can activate the plate?
No.
Or there's another way out of here.
There is nowhere to go. Even if we escape here, there is nowhere to run to.
I can think of 100 places.
And Ahriman will follow us to all of them. Ahriman, his power is growing. He's getting closer.
Close isn't good enough. This isn't going to end like this.
And with that, it's time for us to move further into the epilogue. Let's just do this.
There is always another way out.